Hi everyone, it's Ann. Today we're going to take a look at a brand new deck just released last week, a few days ago, last Thursday on 8/8/2024. I'm recording this on a Tuesday, also August 2024. So just released. It's called Animal Guide Rune Cards by Dawid, Lipka, and Bartosx Mazik. I hope I pronounced those names correctly. Apologies if I didn't. It's in a hard case, 2-part box with thumb hole cutout. There's the side and then the back. There's a few pictures of the cards, 25 cards and 288-page guidebook. The publisher is Blue Angel. And also on Amazon, Llewellyn is listed. So I want to give a big shout out to both Blue Angel and Llewellyn for sending this deck out to me to review. So the publisher is Blue Angel, but Llewellyn is their distributor in the United States. And Llewellyn sent this out to me on behalf of Blue Angel. So thank you very, very much. And it opens up inside, and of course this is Blue Angel's signature little cover. It keeps it protects the guidebook from scratches and things. Nice little touch. Here is the guidebook. It's very, very thick and heavy, hefty. Look how thick it is. And we'll take a look at the guidebook more in depth after we look at the cards. It looks like there's some color in here. All right, and then the cards are underneath. There's the inside of the box. As I mentioned, it is hard case, so very sturdy to keep your cards protected. Cards are bound with this paper binding, which I usually toss. And here are the backs. So the rune symbols, and looks like they are reversible. Sides are not gilded, so no gilding. And cardstock is medium, bendable, pliable, flexible, not too thick, not too thin. There is a core in there. It feels smooth, papery, so it doesn't feel plasticky. There is a little sheen, but it feels more papery. And they are larger than traditional ply-back tarot card size, a lot taller and a lot wider. So they are large size oracle cards. Without further ado, let's take a look. And zoom in nice and tight so you can see. And they are numbered, and then they do have the rune names. I don't know all the rune names, how to pronounce them, so apologies ahead of time if I mispronounce them. One, we have Fehu, wealth, abundance, work. So there's the name of the rune symbol, and then there's keywords underneath that as to what it represents. This is great for people who don't know runes very well and want to learn, or you just want to use runes but you don't know. This gives you keywords, so it's perfect. I love it. Great idea. So Uruz, strength, patience, vitality, and there are symbols hidden or camouflage in the illustration. Some of them it stands out a little bit more than others. There's this one here for the first card. Some of them are so camouflaged that hidden that you can't really see, like this one. Torrid, resilience, struggle, discomfort. I'm not sure where it is, only because it's darker. It's a little harder to see. I don't know. I can't tell. But that's kind of fun to kind of look to see if you can find the rune symbol in the illustration. Anzus. Knowledge, speech, intelligence. Oh, here it is. It's right here. See, it's sort of camouflage. It's hidden. Rado, Orido, movement, journey, adventure. Kenaz or Kinaz, inspiration, talent, creativity. The symbols right here. Gabo or Gibo, love, gift, unity, right here, it looks like. So it's a mixture of a deer, a fox, and a deer. Look at this. A tail of a fox, body, legs of a deer, deer horns, and then the face and ears of a fox. Wunjo, happiness, luck, delight. This one's easy. It's right in front of our face right there. Beautiful sunflowers. Hagel, chaos, destruction, purification. It's right there. These illustrations are beautiful. Some of them are a little dark. It's hard to make out the detail with the darker ink or a darker color. Noctis, solitude, sadness, grief. Well, that makes sense why this is dark. It's beautiful. Isa, pause, slow down, hibernation. And it's right here. Jera, harvest, justice, diligence. And it's right here on the apple. Iwaz, transformation, evanescence, death. I don't see the symbol. Or unless it's this part of it. I don't know. I don't know my rune symbol well enough. Can't find it. Perk throw. Magic, cunning, mystery. Alges, protection, guidance, care. Willow, success, triumph, fame. Look at that. That is wild. Taiwas, conflict, anger, rivalry. The symbol is right there. Wow, look at that wolf. Burkano, birth, nurture, parenthood. Was partnership, technology, teamwork. Manas, humanity, experiment, progress. Lagus, sensitivity, emotions, flow. Iguas, rest, comfort, tranquility. Dagas, enlightenment, hope, awakening. Othala, tradition, family, legacy. Right there, symbol. And last but not least, 25, weird. Karma, destiny, unknown. Very nice card. And I love they have keywords on there for people who are not familiar with rune symbols and their meaning. Great idea. So here's the guidebook. Very nice guidebook. Very colorful, beautiful. The pages are on the thinner side. They're like semi-gloss, but very thin. Thinner than usual. I think they downgraded the pages. But the book itself is very nice. It's just the pages are a little on the thinner side, but they feel nice. It's just thin. About the illustration, elements of the guidebook. I like the font, easy to read, easy on the eyes. Basics of rune casting before you start. shuffling and selecting the cards. Exercise with one card. Cartomancy. You get sample card spreads. Even use real card illustration. That's nice. Meditations. Preparation meditation with Urus in search of power. Meditation with Gibo. Find your animal guide. Oh my God, do they have meditation with each symbol? No, just a few. Meaning of rune archetypes. So then it goes into the meaning of each card. You get a color picture of each card, keyword, write up, and then the story, the Lord of the symbol. Wow. Several pages worth. And then it comes to the message of the card. The person, the place, time, relationship, how it applies to relationship if you were going to draw this card for relationship, and career. Wow, very in-depth. Health, magical use, correspondences, keyword, card iconography, cow, farmland, gold, beige, brown. Wow, there's a lot of information and write-up on each card. It's a few pages worth for each card. Very nice. Wow, look at this. This is good deck and book, you guys, if you want to learn about runes. They have a whole appendix. Look at these colorful pictures. So that's the card still, and then it goes in, and they have a whole appendix section, and then you get this write-up chart, table of magical applications, and then you get the rune, the symbol, the sound, the meaning of the rune name, and then the magical use. Wow, this is a nice little chart. Awesome. It's a little small, but all the information is there. Advanced runic techniques, rune scripts. Look at all this. This is a really nice deck and guidebook, as I mentioned, for if you're trying to learn runes. Runic serial. Wow. They have exercises. Look at this chart. Association game. Okay. Tell me a story. Bread recipe. Wow. This book has everything. Look at this mouse. About the authors and artists. And then other decks available by the publisher. And then couple blank pages for notes, total of 287 numbered pages. Very nice guidebook. All right, so let's zoom out. And let's clear the deck and shuffle and see how they shuffle. It's a little large for petite hands, but it is doable with a little stretch. So it is doable. Of course, you can always do it vertically. No problem. There's only 25 cards, so it's very, very thin deck. All right, let's see if we can riff or shuffle. I'll see if I can stretch. Riff to riff or shuffle. Yep, definitely can riff or shuffle. Can we get a rune message for the collective viewers, please? Rune message for the collective viewers. What do we need to know at this time? Message for the collective viewer at this time. What do we need to know? Message for the collective viewers. What do we need to know? No jumping cards. cut the deck and pull a card. All right, we have weird, or word weird. Karma, destiny, unknown. Wow. All right. Let's zoom in. So last card. And you saw me shuffle quite a bit. All right, hopefully it's large enough for you to read along. I hope. All right. Look, a new life arises in the swamps of death. Look, the viper sheds its skin to be born again. I'm trying to figure out how I can see. To live, transform, and die endlessly. This is the destiny of all beings. We all dance to the rhythm of cosmic contraction and expansion. The snake catches its own tail and becomes a wheel. Lord, the English word weird comes from the Germanic weird, literally meaning to be in control of your destiny. Very interesting. Shakespeare's 3 witches were called the Weird Sisters, who both foretold the fate for Macbeth and were quite unusual ladies. Contemporary English has retained the latter meaning, but has forgotten the former. It is a pity, as it might help us shed some light on the most mysterious of all runes. Weird is not included in Furtark. It cannot be found in runic poems. We know, however, that this term was sometimes used to describe an empty rune devoid of a graphic symbol and a precisely defined meaning. It was supposed to symbolize fate, a great unknown in which we cannot interfere. Until recently, it was common practice among esoteric publishers to add 1 blank card to a fortune-telling deck. Some tarot readers saw it as an opportunity to replace a potentially lost figure with an empty one. However, the intention of the creators was different. They wanted to convey that if a card without an illustration appears in the spread, it is a sign that we should let go and not proceed with inquiry. Not all knowledge is intended for our ears. If we ask something that we shouldn't know, the cards have the right to defend themselves. In our runes, this blank card is weird. Wow. So why do we paint a snake instead of leaving the card without its image? Well, in other accounts, weird was not empty, but represented a sacred tree, Yggdrasil, or to be more precise, its roots. On the one hand, they were nurtured by the Norns, goddesses of destiny. On the other, they were nibbled by a giant snake, Jormungandr, sorry if I mispronounced that. It is similar for us. The wheel of life is turning. Sometimes we get the medicine, sometimes we get the poison. Speaking of wheels, there is a very old symbol connected to the topic. Ouroboros is a snake that swallows its own tail. The circle has neither beginning or end. The time specified in a circular pattern is cyclical, always returning to the original point to retranscend it in a certain order. And so after spring, summer always comes, which must finally go away. But when the course of nature is complete, spring will come again, and then another summer. Ouroboros represents the eternal cycle of life, birth, death, and rebirth entwined in an inextricable dance. Swamps have a similar symbolism, places inaccessible and extremely dangerous for people, where one wrong step can cost us our lives. At the same time, under a layer of water and mud, the earth performs an alchemical transmutation, turning the remains of plants and animals into peat, cool and flammable gases to which we give a second life by heating our homes. Snakes are unusual for one reason. In the process of molting, they shed their old skin as if reborn as new creatures. The mold they leave behind is only an empty shell, a memory for a previous life, a memory from a previous life. The essence of the serpent has continued on. For this reason, snakes are often symbolically associated with the cycle of reincarnation and the laws of karma. Their biology illustrates the concept of soul wandering. The spiritual foundation of the self, like a snake's body, remains intact, but the consciousness shifts to another vessel, leaving the former, just as the snake leaves an old layer and layer of epidermis behind. Transformation, soul, destiny, none of these ideas can be easily defined and locked in narrow frames. Just like the rune in question, let us return to Ouroboros for a moment to show its different, lighter face. The symbol of a snake devouring its own tail, for some reason, very often accompanies scientists in their discoveries, which are also the result of chance, or maybe we should say fate. Auguste Kekulé, a 19th century chemist, was to discover the structure of benzene, for example, through some unusual dream vision. Here is how he recalls his dream in John Reed's book, From Alchemy to Chemistry. Okay, so I'm not going to read all that. It's getting kind of long. I wasn't planning on reading all that, but it was so interesting. I want to know. Okay, so here's the message to the card. Some believe that each of us is the master of our own destiny. That may be the case, but what if a tyrant takes control of the lives of innocent citizens? Wow, this is timely on the planet. Can the people who have been enslaved change their destiny? Or maybe it must have been their fate. Weird is peculiar when it comes to its meaning. For a large number of people working with runes, the presence of this symbol in the spread means that the querent is not yet ready to know the answer to the question asked. If we decide to explore the meaning of weird, we should expect the answers to be inconclusive and vague. So all you will read next, clear reader, is mainly our guesswork, dictated by intuition. Wow, okay, and then it tells you person, place, time, relationship. Weird in the spread of a relationship suggests that we can expect anything. It is difficult to say unequivocally what the runes want to tell you by answering in this way. All right, so basically we picked a card where it's supposed to be blank, but as you heard, and the author decided to put a snake. So key word is fate. So not know, unknown, right? So whatever message or whatever question you have in mind, or this time in your life for the collective, it's unknown. It's really true, though. We are charting unknown territories, right? With everything going on in the world, it is unknown, and I guess it remains to be seen based on free will and what we as a collective humanity choose to do. Wow, I think it's befitting. I think it's synchronistic. So it's unknown. Fate. Not yet written. So that's good, though. It's not sealed. So that means that we still have the ability to change and make change. It is not set in concrete. So that is a good sign. sign, especially if you don't like how things have been going, right? So that completes the walkthrough of the Animal Guide rune cards. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I took a little extra time to read all that, but it was fascinating and interesting, so I hope you learned something, as I did, from me reading all that. And as usual, if you are interested in the deck, I will put the links in the description underneath the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all again next time. Bye.